Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while, I'm sorry. I'll get into that in a little bit. Don't worry, the game's booting up by the way. Don't worry, you're not going to be stuck watching a black screen for a couple of hours. Um, just booting up American Truck Simulator Pro Yacht. And yeah, I'm back. I haven't disappeared. I'm not on hiatus. There's been quite a lot of things going on. But the first we have to do is quickly get into the game and try and remember where on earth I was driving from or to the last time. I need to also get my mod installed to get a little bit more traffic on the road. I do find it very dull otherwise. So how are you all? I hope you're all doing well. My monthly schedule for these videos has fallen by the wayside. I do apologize. Yeah, so what's been going on? Well, quite a few things. Obviously, I mean, the previous video was out late, so it's kind of meant my month of February, which was already short to begin with, became even shorter. So that was a thing. But gave you plenty of time to watch it anyway. I don't know if anyone actually watched that whole video. I mean, if you did, you deserve a medal. That was quite an epic one in terms of, you know, the length, just hearing me rabbiting on for 4 hours. So I promise this one won't be as long. Unfortunately, for the last sort of, pretty much the whole of this month so far. I'm recording this on the 12th, by the way, in case you see this. I've been sick, unfortunately. I've had some sort of like weird cold flu thing, that's kind of meant I've been out of action for a little bit. Apart from in-person work, I've basically not been able to do anything else. I'm just going to check graphic settings. That's all behaving itself. I noticed that I thought it dropped at some point, but maybe not. Oh no, what happened? Okay. Right, where are we going? You can pick the job with me. Oh, we're in Gillette. Okay. Goodness knows. I want this video to be about an hour and a half. So where can we go? Anywhere decent? How long would be an hour and a half trip? Should have done this off camera, shouldn't I? You can pick with me. Anything that looks interesting. I should probably do it by distance rather than price per distance. Fertilizer. Down to Texas. Yeah, that could be alright. We'll pass through Denver and a little bit of New Mexico. 700 miles? Is that kind of what we want? Route length. Let's see. Oh. 1,000 miles? Oklahoma? Ooh, use packaging. Oh, that's not very exciting. Come on, game. You can give me something a little bit more exciting than that. Oh, what's the one? Home accessories. Not the most exciting, but it's 1,000 miles. That'll probably do it. About an hour and a half or so. Yeah. Let's do that. I have no idea what state my truck is in, so that's going to be a surprise when when this game loads. Anyway, see, I've been sick for the last week, unfortunately, and it meant pretty much I've not been well enough to record at all. I guess if I was just, you know, feeling a little bit lethargic or whatever, I would have tried, but unfortunately it hit my throat. I had like weird like sort of fever for about a day and a half or so. I don't know if I had like a proper high temperature, but just kind of like I'll get into that later. I had like fever dreams. But then it kind of went away, and I did a couple of live streams for Fury of Dracula, and I was like, oh, is this now? Am I fine? Oh, my guy's yawning. Nice. I'm going to go and take a rest stop immediately. Thanks for that, game.
Drive safe.
I will. Don't you worry, Doug. I will repair my truck while I'm here. Where can I go and rest? Please tell me there's somewhere nearby I can rest. Oh, there is. Perfect. That will do. Oh my god, I have to go into another load screen again. Of course. Yeah. So after having this fever for a couple of days, the cold basically shifted right to my throat, like really at the base of my throat. And unfortunately, because my in-person job means I have to talk quite a bit, basically I sort of blew my voice out. So I spent pretty much the whole of last week just really struggling to talk, and not only that, but just I almost sounded like my voice was breaking over again. I could not maintain any sort of pitch with my voice at all. It would go from extremely deep to extremely high pitch with absolutely no control whatsoever. So I don't know. Maybe I went through puberty. Who knows? But anyway, so that was very frustrating. So yeah, it meant I couldn't do any sort of recording. Not for this. I couldn't record any sort of other videos that I wanted to do. And to be honest, I didn't really feel like it either. I just had like just very little energy to. That's the other thing. Even though in the last few days I've kind of been recovering. It was what day was it? I think it was. Oh, really? The AI's letting me out. Really? AI, make your mind up. Are you letting me out or not? I'm gonna back up here so the AI just keeps driving past and doesn't try to stop for me. Yeah, it was Sunday, so I'm recording this on a Tuesday, and the Sunday just passed. I was just exhausted. I was just like, I've done nothing all week, and I'm just absolutely whacked. So I did very little. So yeah, but hopefully now back to normal. I feel much more sort of energetic. I'm tired, but that's just because of the end of the workday tired, rather than being ill tired, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where I've been basically. I'm not on hiatus. It's just yeah, I was down with the sickness. Wah. I wonder how many of you would get that reference. I think I've done that joke before. I can't remember if it was on one of these videos or one of the Fury of Dracula videos, but never mind. So yeah. But yeah, getting back into things. Okay, so sorry. Some of you might have clicked on this video and went, what on earth is all this? Right, so basically, hello people. This is a video that is in my series of videos called Keeping You Company If You Need It. They started over Christmas time, and they are just sort of here as a, in theory, monthly episode of me just driving around on American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator or doing another game. And just chatting about life and what's been happening and topics which are interesting to me. If people post questions, I will respond to them, all that sort of stuff. And if my guy doesn't stop yawning, that'd be great. So yeah, thank you everybody who's been watching the episodes. Obviously, I hope they give you comfort and support whatever way. I had someone commenting on the previous video saying that while they were working, they're just having it on in the background, and that's absolutely fine. If you're doing chores and you want something on in the background, that's great. But also, if you're just having a bit of a bad day and you just want something to keep you company, just a little voice in the background, that's absolutely fine. And the reason why I'm doing it on a game like this, for example, is yeah, sure, you can watch this video if you want and see the visuals of me driving around America, but if you don't want to, and you just want to put the phone down or just have the laptop on in the background, you just want to listen to it while you're trying to sleep or just while you're trying to do something else, that's absolutely fine. So you don't have to be looking at the screen. It'll just be me driving around America. If there's something really interesting, I will say it out loud, rather than just assuming that you're seeing it. Yeah, my guy. We're going into the rest stop. It's right there. We're gonna go there and rest. Can you just stop yawning, for heaven's sake? Oh, well, I'm gonna start yawning. I'm recording this at like 11 o'clock at night, so just don't.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
What's the way I'm supposed to go in? I think it's meant to be this way. I say with no confidence whatsoever. I don't know if you can hear. I've still got Doug with me. Oh, I've got petrol, but I'm not rested. I don't know how that happened, but never mind. I will quickly park in one of these. Do a quick rest stop. It means we'll be driving during the day, most likely, which will be fantastic. Cool. There we go. 6 AM. Perfect. I'm still rocking the Stars and Stripes. I was told by some of my subscribers it looks like like a Trump truck or something. So yeah, but I went for like the loud and proud American rather than it being a political statement in terms of like, you know, Republican or Democrat. Obviously, as a Brit, I have no say in the upcoming election. And I'm just looking at my OBS, and it looks like I've got some sort of like background noise. Oh, maybe not. Okay, that's fine. I've been having problems with my mic. When I've been chatting to people on Discord, some people said that I've got like some sort of static. I don't know if my mic is on the blink. I might have to buy a new headset, which is not really what I want to be doing right now. But if I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to. This one's done its job. I've had this, well, the 2 years of the channel plus more. So I mean, you know, it's kind of like 3-4 years old at this point. I think I bought it after I came out to Spain. So yeah, it must be at least 3 years I've had this. And I'm using it every day. I always have it on when I'm like just sitting here. Unless I'm trying to work and the cable annoys me and then I unplug it. So hopefully, if there's any static, I do apologize. We're gonna go and pick up this. I can't remember what our job was now. That's terrible. Oh yeah, home accessories. That's right. We'll take it all the way down to Oklahoma. Go through some of the new states, which is very nice. Hopefully, we won't get too much lag. I'm looking at OBS. Obviously, I will not upload this if the lag is awful.
Turn right.
I did have a little session about a week ago, which seems ridiculous, with a group, and it looked like, oh, I took that a bit wide. It seemed like my graphics were a bit crap, but the graphics were set correctly, so maybe I just got a bit unlucky that day. Don't know. Maybe because in the convoy, maybe it all kind of got tuned down. I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're on the road. I have to pick up the load. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope you've had a good February and a good start to March. We're almost halfway through March now. But since this video is going to be a little bit shorter, I will happily upload another one later on in the month. My wife's going to be away on a trip, so while the cats are away, the mice can do lots of recording. We'll see. I'll be busy doing other stuff. But yeah, I'll happily upload another episode, especially this one's a little bit shorter. I will not do another 4-hour episode again. I do apologize for anyone who sat through that. Well done, really. You have all my gratitude. I don't know what that AI was doing, but no. That's nice being on the road again. This is lovely. I've missed playing this. I haven't been doing many convoys lately, actually. I think again, just because I've been sick and then just been really busy. Yeah, I haven't done many convoys. With the people I mentioned in the previous video, Ion Batteries and COG248. Yeah, just because of schedules not aligning. Yeah, haven't. I think the last time I played, I don't know if you're hearing that. I think something coming from the flat upstairs. Sounds like they just flushed their toilet, but it can't be that, surely. I don't know. That's probably the one thing. In the flat we previously used to live in, we used to hear very little noise. It would only be from like the flat next door, and it would be when like the kids next door were like shouting through the wall or something. Or if, the neighbors were getting busy, let's say. But otherwise, we didn't actually hear really much from our neighbors at all, even if they're like moving, moving chairs around or whatever. I heard very little noise from neighbors above and below and to the side, really. So, yeah, the walls in this building maybe aren't as thick. So yeah, I'm kind of hearing more noise these days, but that's okay. I don't know if the mic picked that up. If the mic didn't pick it up, then I just made a comment for absolutely no reason. That's fine. Right, where's our trailer? Is it that one? Oh yes it is. Of course it has to be that one. The one that's in an awkward position. I have to almost hit these bins to get to it. I think I'm hitting a ramp by doing this. Oh! Almost went into the forklift. That would have been terrible. There it is. Oh, slow up. There we go.
Time to get
Right,
the job done.
on the road. Let's go. 1,000 miles of driving ahead of us. That's a decent sort of trip. 17 hours. Okay, one rest stop. Perfect. What was I talking about? Oh, clearly nothing very important.
Turn left.
So yeah, just a combination of being busy, you know, just constantly doing things with the Fury of Dracula tournament, then being sick, and then just work.
Get ready to
That's right, yeah, we haven't done many convoys, they just haven't aligned really. Did loads of them during January and February, but then not much. Why is that bus just stopped like that? That's really weird. Okay, they didn't program that properly. Never mind. So I do miss those convoys.
stay right.
There's
then
one at the
turn
weekend
right.
coming up, which I won't be able to partake in. But hopefully then during next week I might be able to do one.
Turn right.
So yeah, I'll leave similar to the previous episode, I'll leave the links below to the streamers, or the Twitch streams of Iron Batteries and CLG248, so in case you want to just tune in and just listen to some, you know, calm American Truck Simulator, then you can. But it depends on the day. Some of the streams are quite calm, sometimes there's quite a lot of swearing going on. Convoys can descend into carnage sometimes. They all go well until there's one crash between a couple of the drivers, then basically chaos ensues for the rest of the time. Yeah, it just depends on the sort of tape that you catch us on, but it's good fun. So just speaking of, I've got a little piece of paper next to me with just notes and things I want to talk about. The first thing was, I just mentioned it there, was I don't know, do any of you, feel free to leave a comment below if you so wish, do any of you get fever dreams? That's what I call them anyway, I assume that's the right term. When you're sick with the flu or something, and you have some sort of fever, you have a dream. And it's a dream that you only get when you're sick. Mine is quite, and it's a very similar dream. And I've had them for quite a long time. I mean, I don't get fevers very often, fortunately, so it's not like I'm getting them like nightly. But I remember as a kid, when I was probably about, I think it was about 8 was probably the first time I had a fever dream, because I remember it very distinctly, and I was like, what is this? My fever dream is that I am in a room that is like compressing on me. I'm not normally claustrophobic, not really, not in terms of being in a small space. In terms of like workspace, I get quite sort of picky. If I'm on a workspace that is very crowded, I get very stressed about it. But in terms of just being in small spaces or being in lifts and all that sort of thing, like I don't mind, like I'm not claustrophobic in that sense, but my fever dream is that I am being like crushed inside a room, and it feels like the walls and the ceiling are like not caving in on me, but they're being, you know, they're gonna squash me in. It's very disconcerting. It really stresses me out when I get that dream. Also, when I wake up, I'm fine, but inside the dream, I'm feeling really panicked, and I feel it. I feel like there's almost like claustrophobia type feeling. It's very weird. The other one I get is I levitate. I know sometimes you get like the falling type of dream, but it's like a proper like levitating feeling, rather than just you're falling. So I get those two. Which are not very nice when you experience them. When I wake up, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. But often I wake up in a cold sweat, and I don't know if that's because of the fever or just because because of the dream. Where are we going? Okay, I'll just follow Doug, and hopefully Doug is taking us the right way.
Get ready to turn left.
So yeah, if any of you get any like type of fever dream, feel free to let me know in the comments below if you do, and what the fever dream is. Is there like a reoccurring theme to your fever dream? I didn't know fever dreams were a thing until I just happened to speak to somebody a couple of years ago, and it just came up in conversation. I don't know how it did, but it just did. And then this person was like, "Oh yeah, I get the same dreams every time when I'm sick." And the thing was that they were the same dreams that I get, like the type of like claustrophobia feeling. But then other people in the room were like, "No, we don't get those dreams." Or they do, but they get them as a different type of dream. I had another person tell me that the type of fever dream that they get is the same type of fever dream that their father gets, which is really weird. So I don't know, are fever dreams genetic? Are they like hereditary? Like, what was that about? So yeah, feel free, if you get fever dreams, let me know below if you do, and what the fever dream is. And obviously, I hope I don't get another one soon, but if I do, I'll try to describe it to you in more detail, but hopefully I won't get another one soon. Just, you know, nothing exceedingly exciting in my life. I mean, I said in the previous video, or maybe a couple of videos ago, that we moved into a new flat, which is obviously lovely. I did joke with my friends recently that the novelty's kind of worn off on me, especially with the TV and stuff. After getting the TV, because I didn't have, I mean, I know we had a TV in the previous flat, but obviously I wasn't in control of the TV, so. And then all the times at university, I never had a TV, so got so used to not watching it. And then now the fact we've got one that I can control, and then in fact it's a smart TV, so we can connect. We've hooked it up to Netflix and all that sort of stuff. The first couple of weeks, I was like always sitting in front of the TV, you know, eating my lunch, and it doesn't matter if I often have lunch alone, right? It's not like I'm ignoring my wife and sitting in front of the TV. It's just because I often have lunch alone. Just the different working patterns and things and locations. So I often had like the TV on, I had the news on, or I'd stick YouTube on, and I'd be watching stuff on the TV and whatever. Whereas now recently I've got into really bad habits, and I'm just like, oh, there's a laptop there, I'll sit in front of the laptop and do work or do Dracula related stuff or whatever. I've got to have to cut that behavior out, especially since now my wife and I are living on our own, which is obviously lovely. I'm actually not listening to as much Spanish as I used to, so I should actually have the TV on more to try and just get that sort of get more Spanish into my brain and just keep that that muscle flex and just not lose it. Yeah, also speaking of Spanish, just still progressing, enjoying it. I might have said in the previous video, I can't remember, that I want to do like an official like exam qualification in it soon, so I'm starting to sort of look at the exam tasks for it, and they're a bit of a challenge, but it's really good because again it's pushing me, and that's kind of what I want. I like challenges, I like to be pushed. Assuming I have enough time to do them well, that's the problem. Sometimes I don't, but no, I like to be pushed. And having someone like your teacher alongside you who's constantly like, come on, like, get your act together, keep pushing, keep trying to do better, keep pushing yourself, which is really important. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Fury of Dracula stuff is going well, relatively so. We've got the New Blood Championship, which is the tournament for newcomers. It's been quite successful in the sense we've actually had quite a lot of newcomers join the community since the tournament started, but they've been able to tune into some of the games, which is great. and most of the people who have been in the tournament seem to be enjoying themselves. I'm getting some positive comments. However, I think I can't remember, I must have said this in the previous episode, that we had the first occasion, the first occasion where we had somebody sign up who just dropped out. I've had a couple before in the first tournament who signed up, and then by the time the tournament started, they just kind of forgot about it, and they were, doing other things, and they weren't looking at Discord. Whereas now I try to do it at the time difference between sign-ups and the tournament starting is quite short, so then people don't end up forgetting about it, quote unquote. But no, this guy was just really strange. He signed up and he was chatting to me a little bit, not the most communicative, but I was like, okay, well, there's some people who are not as communicative, and that's fine. And then, yeah, before their first game, they turned up really late, and then they just quit without saying anything. He didn't even say to me like, "Oh, I quit." They just removed themselves from like the Discord server and stuff, and I was like, okay, that's really weird, but okay. Since then, we've had another new thing, which is we've had our first troll in the community. We had someone pop into like the main like Nomad Discord and was just chatting shite and just being an utter, weirdo, to be honest. And we're like, okay, you're a bit strange, but cool. And then he got, promptly chucked off the server. And then suddenly, person going by the same name didn't even try to hide it, with the same name, was coming into tournament games and heckling the players. Which caused a couple of issues. We had to suspend live streams for a bit and all that sort of stuff, but
Stay right.
but it's all resolved now. Nomad were very good, and they put in a function into the game where they, the text box they use in game can be muted now, so that's really good. Unfortunately, it's maybe caused some more issues that causes the game to crash a lot more than it used to, but yeah, I think, at the same time, it's a tournament where there's more focus on games at the moment, so I think it is crashing more than it did, but at the same time, there's more sort of tension around it because it's obviously right on a tournament. I remember when I've organised the first World Championship, and that was back in the autumn of 2022, and I'd organised it all, and it was ready, like literally, like we're on the eve of the tournament, and then basically we kind of discovered properly there was quite a big bug with one of the cards in the game called Speedy Telegraph, and I was just fucking panicking, and I was just like, oh my god, how on earth can we have this World Championship if there's like such a crucial card in the game has this massive bug in it, blah 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 blah. It couldn't be fixed just because, at the time Nomad couldn't commit working hours to fix it, so we had to keep proceeding. We had to keep proceeding as is, and in the end it all turned out fine. And that I kind of learned that, and there were a couple of games that were affected, but the players worked around it, and I just kind of learned at that point. I was like, right, just you need to just calm down and take a step back from it, and just don't lose your head over these things. I think because it was the first time I ever organized a tournament, I was like really like uptight, and I was like, this really has to work. People have really dedicated a lot of time and effort into like signing up for this. I have to make sure everything runs well, but sometimes just like it's out of my control. I can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to start panicking about things which are out of my control. I'll just deal with them as we go along. I can sort of like proactively put in like I can give advice to the players proactively, but what will be, and I'm not gonna lose my mind over things I can't control. So I kind of learned after that first tournament just to take a step back and just be like, just deal with things in the moment and not like try and some things you can deal with in advance, but other things you can't. So just don't lose your mind over it. So yeah, that was an interesting episode with the heckler. Fortunately now they've kind of disappeared, which is good. They might come back again, but we're ready for them if they are. We had somebody else drop out, unfortunately, because they weren't enjoying the tournament too much, but fortunately it was at a point that it didn't cause a huge amount of sort of disruption to how the tournament was progressing. So it required a little bit of work on my end, but nothing, you know, ridiculous. And we're now in the knockout stages, which is really cool. We've never done a knockout competition before, so it's going to be really cool to see how that sort of plays out and how, you know, the players kind of react to it and how they feel about it. So we'll see then, you know, how that goes forward. If it's a tournament structure we implement in future World Championships, we'll have to see. Because that's probably one of the things, like, people have always been wanting to have like a proper final rather than just having a league and then whoever's top wins. So obviously, knockout competition has a lot more sort of uncertainty attached to it, and also then if you have one really bad game, that might leave a sour taste in the mouth, rather than having, you know, your league position, which has been determined over the course of say 10 games or 14 games or whatever. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how the players feel, and we'll take it from there. Really. We might have another tournament in the spring, but again, I'm kind of. I'm at the moment I'm on the fence about it. I'll have to see personally for me as an organizer how much energy I have. I'd love to compete in it if I could. So yeah, we'll see. As a community, we'll figure it out. Okay, we're well on our way. 170-ish miles in. Making good progress. Nice. Hope you're enjoying the drive. In terms of scenery, nothing too spectacular currently, or so far. You know, just a nice calm drive. If I find a good place to stop for a rest, I'll take a photograph. So I'm a little bit disappointed. I did actually record this video before, but then I can't remember why. I wasn't really happy with it, and I recorded it so long ago now. It's just like, ah man, I'll just re-record it. And I had a really nice drive along the Pacific coast. It was very beautiful. I had a really good picture for the thumbnail, but never mind. I'll go back there at some point. So yeah, that's it pretty much. You know, got Fury of Dracula stuff. I'm trying to think about what I'm going to record over the summer. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to record much Fury of Dracula, unfortunately, just because it is a little bit, you know, time-consuming given the nature of the game. But, you know, I am looking at maybe doing some more sort of board game simulation stuff. Board Game Arena, which is like a website where you can play board games on it, like a little app version. I might do some of that. I've been playing a little bit of Heat, Pedal to the Metal, and what else? A little bit of Takenoko and Takaido. It'd be kind of cool just to showcase slightly different games. That's the truck I overtook. Oh, to be fair, I'm not going the quickest. Actually, I could be going a little bit quicker here. Not going as quickly as I could be. So yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool, and to showcase different games. I can maybe play, you know, say 10 videos of the same game and just show how my sort of strategy sort of develops over time as I try to get better at these games. I think that'd be really cool. Just showcase something a little bit different, and it means if it's a board game that you guys discover and you play it yourself, that'd be great. I mean, Board Game Arena is free, which is really nice. It means then, you know, if anybody does want to play the game, you can, you know, you can easily add me on it and we can play, or, you know, if you're just interested, you can play on your own. So I think that'd be kind of a good thing to do. There's also a game that's come out recently. The people who are responsible for making Wingspan, the digital version of Wingspan, I should say, they have put out a game in the last week or so, which is called, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to get around the wrong way, aren't I? The Cats and Quilts of Calico? Is it? I can't remember if it's Quilts and Cats or Cats and Quilts. Can't remember. It's based on a board game called Calico. I don't actually know why the digital version has a longer name. I don't know what that was about. Maybe it's like some sort of licensing thing. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, it's a digital adaptation of a board game.
Stay left.
Very different from Fury of Dracula. Quite different from Wingspan too. It's a tile laying game. You're basically building a quilt by putting hexagonal tiles onto it. And it's one of these very sort of classic sort of board game pattern building. The way that you all the hexagonal tiles that you can put on in your quilt will have one of 6 colors and one of 6 patterns. I think it's like 2 or 3 iterations of each combination in the game. And basically, you pick the tiles that you want to build up the quilt how you like, and depending on the way you arrange all of these tiles, you gain points. You gain points for having groups of the same color. You have points for groups of the same pattern, and you also then there's a thing which you can do with colors and patterns. The reason why it's called cats and quilts is obviously, well, the quilts thing is fairly obvious. The cats, one of the reason why it's called the cats of Calico is the way you gain points for your pattern combinations is, say for example, if I get three, as a random example, if I get 3 tiles beside each other in a triangle configuration and all of them have polka dots on them, as an example, there will be potentially a cat that likes this combination of tiles, and the cat comes onto your quilt and falls asleep on it, and you gain points. And in the digital version, there's a little like symbol, a little token for the cat that comes along. But the cats in the game are actually sitting there on the table playing with you, and they're asleep. But if you want, you can wake them up, and they start walking all over your quilt, which obviously a lot of people would go mad for. It looks a very chilled out game. I've never played the board game, but I already know that the little board game group that I've got would probably like that game very much. It's kind of similar to the games like Azul and Sagrada. Sagrada's one that's pattern building, but it's based on dice. But again, it's kind of the same as like the numbers are the intensity of the color, and then you've got the colors, all these different colored dice that you can use. And then you've got Azul, which is building like a Roman mosaic, I want to say, using different tiles to build it. But the thing I like about this game, Calico, is there are no illegal moves, which is not a problem. I think that games having potentially illegal moves and restrictions about how you can place things, I don't think is a problem. I think that's kind of cool. But also having a slightly, less intense game where technically every tile that you place is valid, but it just means that you only get points for certain combinations. I think that's kind of a nice, and I think if I was introducing, players to the hobby, and if I was going to introduce them to this type of tile laying game, like pattern building game, I would definitely pick something like Calico first, and then build up to something like Sagrada. Even though Sagrada's not that difficult. Again, it's not the easiest either, Sagrada. It depends. I'm not the best at tile, but Sagrada I'm quite good at. Azul, for some reason, I love the game, and I really enjoy playing it. But I'm just terrible at it. I lose every time. I mean, my wife isn't a gamer, and she'll crush me at that game without even thinking. So yeah, I don't know. It just even though I understand how the game works, and if you said to me like, what is the strategy, I would probably go for the strategy. But when I just actually play the game, I just don't implement it for some reason. So yeah, I kind of suck at it, but it's fine. I mean, I really enjoy playing it, so it's not a problem. But I saw the game and I thought, well, they've got an app coming out, and it'd be kind of nice just to showcase it on the channel. I think it'd be a game that I'd probably play quite a lot, because it seems like this really nice chilled game. The games don't seem to take very long, so I could easily do a couple of videos playing against the AI, and then we can maybe, if there are quite a lot of people, I think there's a Discord channel for them, so I could just go and find some human opponents. I think that'd be really, really cool, to be honest. It'd just be a nice chilled out thing I could play in the evenings. I could easily, produce quite a lot of recordings very quickly for that. And it's a game that I'm like, generally looking at it, I'm like, that interests me. So, I know it's a new game, but I think it's kind of cool, because at the moment there are not many people doing it on YouTube. But again, I'm not doing it just to, I think I've talked about this in the previous episode. Maybe it's in the episode that I ditched, I can't remember now, this is the problem. But no, I think, just to really briefly explain the point again, that I have recorded Wingspan videos, but now there's the new expansion for Oceania on digital edition that's come out. But I've not gone involved with it, partly because I've just gone so used to base game and European expansion. I don't want to learn a new expansion. It just doesn't interest me. And when I've watched other people play the game, it looks like it changes the game mechanics so much that doesn't really grab me that much. I'm interested in the birds, and I think the artwork is beautiful and the abilities are cool, but it changes the feel of the game. It becomes less engine building, more kind of just like throw loads of birds down, you know, and just collect loads of resources, which doesn't seem. It's just it's a completely different type of game. If the two games were like completely different, I'd have no problem with it. The fact you learn the game one way and then suddenly with an expansion, the way you play changes so drastically. For me, that doesn't. For me personally, I'm not interested in it. And I said maybe in a previous video, one that got ditched, that you know, if I was really like, if my only ambition with the channel was just to grow as fast as possible, I would probably just stomach it. And oh, this is a cool bridge with these pillars. Sorry, we're crossing it. We're going under a bridge, but there's a bridge going above it. Sorry, we're going under a bridge, but the part above, there's like columns that I rendered the bridge. That's really cool. Sorry, getting distracted. If my only ambition was like just to grow the channel a lot, I would stomach Oceania and play it. And because I saw there's quite a lot of people who came to the channel because of my Wingspan videos, and I was getting a lot of positive comments from them, and the community was really nice, but I just personally would not feel comfortable, you know, trying to. Partly because I don't have time, but also at the moment I just don't feel like I would want to play Oceania. But to just make the point really clear, if there are other YouTubers out there who, and you know who these people are, because they're much bigger YouTubers in the Wingspan space than I am, who are doing lots of recordings on Oceania and they're producing content about the strategy of Oceania, that is absolutely fine. They're doing it because they're really, really, really passionate about the game and they want to educate people about the game. That is absolutely fine, and I'm really happy that they're doing it. Just because I'm not passionate about Oceania doesn't mean that other players can't be. That's just, you know, that's where I stand with that. But so yeah, as I said, I know this Calico digital edition is very new, so I would be kind of jumping on a bandwagon a little bit with it, but at the same time, there are not many people doing videos about it. And the game generally interests me. If I did a couple of recordings and I suddenly realized, I'm not feeling this game, I would play it a couple of times before I recorded. I wouldn't just jump straight in. If I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't record it. Simple. Same with Board Game Arena. I would only really showcase games on that I just generally enjoy playing. Not that I'm necessarily good at it. That I mean, I will, you know, from my Fury of Dracula videos, right? I will happily pose losses as well as wins if there's like a genuine sort of like learning outcome from it or whatever. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. So I might buy that this week and just sort of play through it in the evening, so I got a little bit more time. Yeah. What else has been happening? My wife and I have finished our, I was about to say playthrough, Muppet, our watch through of Breaking Bad. It's actually the second time that we've watched through it together. I don't really have much of a memory of watching it the first time. I think my wife might have watched a lot of the episodes without me. And I think this time too, there were a few things I missed, just because she would start watching it when she come home from work, and I joined her a little bit later. But that was fine. I said she could. It was really cool watching it again. But then the finale, especially the final season, we watched through most of it all like together. We didn't skip through bits. And just, yeah, quite a lot of it, there's a lot of the plot I remembered. It really got stuck in my mind. So maybe I did watch quite a lot of it with her the first time she watched it, because I was like, I would not remember this much of the plot after watching it only 10 years ago, because that's when I watched it. I watched it originally 10 years ago. That makes me feel really old to say that. Yeah, it was the academic year of 2013 to 14. I watched it with my best friend. Yeah. Yeah, it's been 10 years since I watched it originally. So a lot of that stuff I wouldn't have remembered. So I must have watched it a second time with her. Yeah. I just still awesome. I mean, my opinion doesn't. I mean, I've not watched a lot of series lately, but yeah, the series is so good. Some little bits and pieces I didn't remember. I mean, those of you who have seen Breaking Bad, I won't spoil it completely, just in case anyone does want to watch it after watching this. But I think most people who would have wanted to watch it would have watched it. If that makes sense. But yeah, well, yeah, I won't say spoilers, but in terms of like, you know, all I have to say is the word Ozymandias, and I think anyone who's watched it will know what I'm talking about. I've forgotten how brutal that episode is. And when I say brutal, I don't mean the parts that you expect. I mean, obviously, I mean, you know what happens at the beginning of Ozymandias, right? So that was obviously, I'd forgotten. I remember bits of it, but I'd forgotten how hard it was to watch and just how emotional that was. But the scene in particular that I'd kind of forgotten how gut-wrenching it was, is the scene when Walt comes home and he basically has like the confrontation with Skylar in the house. And again, I won't spoil exactly what happens, just so people don't, you know. I mean, I don't think me saying that there's a confrontation is going to be that much of a spoiler, given it's about, I mean, this is not really a spoiler because this all happens in the first episode. A chemistry teacher who is very underpaid, is overqualified, suddenly discovers that he has inoperable lung cancer, and he's given maybe 2 years to live. And then he decides to basically become a methamphetamine, I was going to say dealer, and that's not quite true. Manufacturer, there you go. I had the word synthesize in my head. I was like, no, you can't make that into a noun. Like, yeah, a methamphetamine manufacturer. There we go. So you can just tell from the premise of the show that there's going to be confrontations along the way. I think that's kind of obvious. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that scene where he confronts her and what happens subsequently, I'd forgotten how brutal it was, and just how you just feel all like the blood draining out of you, and you're just left so numb by it, and you're just like, my god, like what? And my wife had like, if you know that scene, you know what I'm talking about. And my wife had like the biggest understatement. It was just so funny when she was just like, we'll watch it again. She was like, what a mess. I was like, yeah, that's putting it mildly. Yeah, it's been awesome to watch that through again and just reconnect. And I've been doing stuff around the flat or whatever. I've just been listening to like video essays about Walter White and all this sort of thing. So I think the really cool thing, if you don't know what Breaking Bad is and you basically want to pitch on why Breaking Bad's amazing, not just the premise of just, you know, a chemistry teacher suddenly cooking methamphetamine. Obviously, it's in the States, obviously. In the UK, this wouldn't happen, or in Europe, because it would just be, you have lung cancer. The government will pay for your treatment. The end. Sorry, Americans. That was not meant to be a dig, but that is just, you know, it would only work in America. But the thing that's really cool about it is, in many TV shows, characters remain fairly consistent in terms of their personality and their sort of character profile, and the only thing that happens is certain events will happen and you'll see how the characters react to that trigger. Whereas in Breaking Bad, of course, that happens, but the characters also change, and this Walter White character basically shifts throughout the whole show. And basically the really cool thing about it, and it's really, my wife made a very astute sort of observation about this, and it is really true, where it's one of those shows where when you watch it, again, this might be a little bit spoilers, so if you want to turn this off, that's fine. When you watch it the first time, you almost like root for Walter all the way, and you want him to succeed no matter what. But then when you watch it the second time, with all that knowledge of what happens from almost the very beginning, you're just like, oh my god, he is an utter bastard. Like, he is just like, yeah, utter basket case and just so evil, and just like, yeah. You see everything in a different light, and it changes the whole complexion of the show. And that's kind of the whole idea of, like, obviously it's like a classic sort of like trick of it doesn't matter if it's literature or playwright or film, that even if you got somebody who is like evil, if you film everything from their perspective and their inner thoughts, and you see the conflict inside them and whatever, you can root for them. You almost get manipulated to root for them. But then when you see it from the outside, from a different perspective, you're suddenly like, no, this person's like no good. The thing is, like, in that show, there's like very, very few good characters, obviously, given the subject matter. So you're comparing evil people with evil people. So, I mean, it's definitely like, which is the lesser of two evils here, right? I did see a very interesting kind of comment. I saw, because obviously I've started watching through Better Call Saul, which is the prequel series to Breaking Bad, but obviously it came out afterwards, about one of the characters, Saul Goodman, who's, I think, probably one of my favorite characters in the show. He is just, the actor is just incredible, and he's just, the lines are so witty, but it's just also just the way he has to grapple with this insane character who just comes into his life, and he has to deal with all this. But I started watching. I watched quite a lot of Better Call Saul, which is the prequel, and it shows Saul Goodman's life before the events of Breaking Bad. And obviously, then you see some of the backgrounds of some of the other characters from Breaking Bad, which is really, really cool. But I haven't seen the final season yet, and apparently that's when it kind of meets with the Breaking Bad timeline. And I saw, again, spoilers in case anybody, if anybody's hasn't watched it, but I was listening to a video essay from somebody who watched Better Call Saul before Breaking Bad, which I think must be quite a bold move. And they said, there's a comment that said, yeah, I watched it in that order too, and basically, when you see it from Saul's perspective, Walter White is just this insane character who ruins everybody's life. Obviously, when you're watching Breaking Bad, you're just rooting for Walt more or less all the way. Maybe on subsequent sort of, watch throughs, you might be like, whoa, this guy's no good. Like, yeah, sure, we're seeing it from his perspective, but good grief, like, we don't really want him to win. So yeah, there's just so much stuff in it, and I just like it's not that long either. There was a complaint I had once. One of my friends said to me, "Oh, Breaking Bad's too long." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but you need that certain pacing because you need to see him change, right? The whole series takes place over a time scale of about 2 years, real time. So you need to see that development. You need to see him change. If he changed too quickly, then it would almost seem a little bit unnatural, right? You need to see it, like, things play out. You need to see the characters mulling over the decisions that they've made. And at no point did I ever think watching Breaking Bad, oh goodness me, this is too slow. But that's just me personally. I would say that Better Call Saul is slower in terms of pace than Breaking Bad. But it's also it's very different. But it's very interesting because you know all these characters after watching. Oh, we were now in New Mexico, speaking of Breaking Bad, because it's set in Albuquerque. Because you know all these characters and you see the backstory, like, oh, I want to know what happened there. Oh, right, that's what happened there, and things start clicking then. So I haven't seen the final season of Better Call Saul, but I might just have to go back and watch it all. Maybe when my wife is away, I'll just binge Breaking Bad. I'll binge Better Call Saul. We'll see. So yeah. So in terms of series, I think that's all for now. I've got more of a list of films I need to watch rather than TV series. There's one in particular that my wife's recommended, which is called Society of the Snow, and it's a real life well, real life. It's based on a real story of a plane. I don't know what decade it was in. Maybe the 19. I'm gonna say 1960s. It might be slightly off. A while ago, anyway. Of a plane. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong terribly now. Is it a plane from Uruguay, which crashed in Chile, I want to say, or something like that. It was in South America, and a plane crashed in the mountains. I assume it'd be the Andes then, if that's the case. I need to watch it, and then I'll be able to tell you. And basically, yeah, obviously back then, very primitive radio and all this sort of thing, in a very isolated location, and basically it's about the survival of, you know, the passengers and them trying to get help and all this sort of thing. Apparently there was actually a previous film, and I was told that it was not very well received at the time, so apparently they didn't ask permission from the survivors and stuff. But I don't know if that is true, but that's what I've heard anyway. But this new one's been very very well received. I think it was being nominated. We had the Oscars a night or two ago. I think it was actually nominated for the best foreign film. It didn't win. It lost to Zone of Interest, I believe it's called. Oh, since I'm yawning, I might just stop in here. Just take advantage now. It's not a really good place for me to take a thumbnail shot. Well, I think I'll just stop here anyway, to be honest. Oh, don't crash into that truck, that'd be embarrassing. Can we get through this whole drive without crashing? We'll have to see. Nope, you're not going to trigger. Nice. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I'm going to have to back into here. Yeah, but I can park here apparently. That's weird. Yeah, Zone of Interest. I think it's based on the Holocaust, that one. I'm going to have to check it out. But I think by the looks of it, even though I think the director's British, I think they did all of the acting in German and Polish and Yiddish. So that's going to be interesting to watch. So yeah, my wife watched Society of the Snow, and then she was like, "You have to watch it. You have to watch it." I was like, "Okay." So I'm gonna have to watch it now, aren't I? I've been told. It'll be good, especially I can watch it in Spanish. Then I'll have to deal with the South American accent, which would be very interesting. When she was watching it, I was in the same room, and I was just sort of like, I was probably having a siesta, to be honest, while listening to music, and I saw the vocabulary was quite different. I was like, okay, that's gonna be fun to listen to. How far have we got to go? 400 miles. Okay, that's decent. Yeah. Yeah, so I've got Society of Snow to watch. We've got that Zone of Interest. I need to watch Oppenheimer as well. Over the summer, we were meaning to go and see Barbenheimer, but in the end, we only went to see Barbie. I think because we saw it was like Oppenheimer's like 3 hours long. I think we're just towards the end of the summer at that point. I'm just like, we'll leave it. We'll watch it another time. We'll just sit at home, sort of like, you know, cozy on the sofa with a blanket and a cup of tea, and we'll watch it. But my wife loves Cillian Murphy, so we'll have to watch it. That's another thing too. We have to watch Peaky Blinders as well. We still haven't watched the final season. We had a summer where we binged all of Peaky Blinders, and then we had to wait for it to come out on the Spanish Netflix and stuff, and then we just kind of forgot about it. So we need to get into good habits and do that. Speaking of Society of the Snow, this is going to be a Society of the Snow, rather. It's going to be a bit of a weird thing to tell you, but, you know, that's what these videos are about. I don't know if I've said this in a previous video. I think I said it in the one that got ditched. Not only am I interested because of, like, you know, the Spanish and the history and everything, but I'm also interested in that film because it's a plane crash. I know it's going to sound a bit weird, but one of my... I won't call it a hobby because I think that's kind of a stupid word to use in this sense, but one of my interests, let's say, is watching documentaries about airplane crashes. I find it incredibly fascinating. Not in like in a morbid type of way, just to make it clear. I just find it very fascinating the amount of detail that you could gain from, you know, investigating these things, and also just the sheer sort of technological advancement that's come from, you know, all of these obviously tragic crashes, and just how, you know, the airline industry has really sort of evolved since then. Oh, there's a train. Just got attention span of a 5-year-old. Just talking about plays. I'm like, oh, train. Sorry. Is this going to be a good thumbnail? Ooh, it's very hazy. I don't know if I like that. I do and I don't. No, I'm not going to take that picture. Keep going. No, I just find it incredibly interesting. Wait. I used to watch. I didn't even watch them much on TV, like the air crash. What are they called? Like Mayday, like the air crash investigations and stuff. But I found them like very dramatic, and just obviously it's all very dramatized and stuff. And it was more about the crash and rather about the investigation, right? So it's only then more with YouTube really, where I discovered like a lot of these sort of, you know, content creators who are doing really good sort of documentary work. And it's not just about the technical aspect. I mean, I'm not an engineer, right? So I don't really understand that much about planes, but you know, the amount of technical detail that's involved, you know, some of the jargon kind of goes over my head. But also just, you know, the sort of the pilot psychology aspect. Again, I'm not a psychologist, but I find it really interesting to learn about how not just pilots, but just how humans in general, under stress, how we'll make certain decisions, you know, and how our environment informs those decisions, and how, you know, we get things called expectation bias, where we expect something to happen, and then when we see some sort of data or evidence, we basically filter that, and the data that points towards our expectation, we put more emphasis on that, and any data that doesn't fit our expected model of our environment, we actually end up discarding that data. It's really interesting. It's really fascinating. And then if you see any data, if you've got a model in your head of what's happening, and you see any type of data that fits that model, that's then confirmation bias. But then something else might happen, and you ignore it because you're like, no, that data told us we were correct. It's just so fascinating. And you know, there's so many really good documentaries out there, not just about, unfortunately, the flights that ended tragically in a crash, but you know, those near misses, and how, you know, the pilots were able to, you know, sort of, you know, cheat death and were able to get everybody out of the situation. It's just really fascinating how they're able to get through all that. And I was really interested too when they made the film Sully. I don't know if you saw that one, the one with Tom Hanks. He was the pilot who landed I can't remember, I think it was an Airbus on the Hudson River in New York after a double a bird strike took out both the plane's engines, and everybody survived. I think like the worst injury was like a broken ankle or something like that, or maybe some lacerations. But yeah, just, you know, the sheer skill in order to do that, and the fact they made the film about it. And again, you know, with Tom Hanks, a really good actor who I really like, and Clint Eastwood, you know, renowned director. So the film is very good. Unfortunately, the only sort of unfortunate thing about that film is they ended up making the classic sort of Hollywood, trying to create drama where there wasn't one, or there wasn't any. They tried to make the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board. There we go. They tried to make them look like the bad guys, and in the film it's almost like they don't believe what the pilots were saying, where, you know, in the reality that wasn't the case. They were doing their job and they had to investigate these things, and they weren't like, you know, trying to discount anybody's theories or whatever. So again, it's kind of, they're doing it for a dramatic effect, like all Hollywood films. But I just thought it was a really interesting story, and I should really try and seek out that. I can't remember what his name is. His first name. The Captain Sullenberger's book. That would be really interesting to hear his own personal account. So yeah, you'll normally find if I haven't watched any in the last couple of weeks. It kind of goes through fits and spells. Right, I watch a lot in a very short space of time. Then I need a little bit of a break from it, and then I go back to it. The ones I normally watch are the one I really like at the moment is Green Dot Aviation. There's also one called Mentor Pilot, and that one's really nice because it's actually from a pilot's perspective. So he personally can provide a lot of input into the discussion, from the fact that, you know, he is a pilot and he's like, well, when I'm flying the plane, we see these instrumentations. The pilot should know this, blah blah blah, right? So you really get the sort of the pilot's perspective on everything. And the other one is Disaster Breakdown. That's probably the one that I started watching sort of consistently. But then I think Disaster Breakdown doesn't upload as often, so then I kind of got sort of caught up with Green Dot Aviation, and then the algorithm kind of stopped showing me some of Disaster Breakdown's videos. But I need to go back and watch more. But the amount of detail they can do, and they do use all like the, you know, the flight simulator programs and things to like show you, you know, what the cockpit will look like with and they'll have all the, they don't need the cockpit voice recording to imitate, you know, the warning sounds. You can experience for yourself what the warning sounds look like, what the sound would be like in the cockpit, and all this sort of thing. It provides a lot of realism, but just so much detail to the situation. So they're all very well made. It's very impressive what they can do.
Go straight.
And the teams of these people who, you know, put all these things together. So yeah, I don't know if you're judging me for it, but I'm interested in airplane crashes. There you go. And also too, then recently we got we had the situation in America with the Boeing plane with the door plug blowing out. I need to actually watch some documentaries back, because obviously I saw it when it first came out and they were first reacting to it, but now there's been a little bit of time has passed and there's been some investigation into it. It'd be interesting to see what they're saying about it. But it's actually really nice too, because I haven't flown much recently. I used to fly a lot more when I was going back between the UK and Spain, but obviously now I still do, but obviously it's like I'm based more here. But when I do fly, you know, I'll notice things that I never noticed before. So as an example, one of the things that I didn't realize was before the flight, the team of the two pilots will split. One of the pilots will stay in the cockpit and will be programming the flight computer and the route and all this sort of thing, and starting some of the checklists. Whereas the other pilot, the pilot that is not flying the plane, will go down onto the ground and actually do a visual inspection of the aircraft. And I never seen it before, I guess, because normally normally when the passengers are boarding onto a plane, that check might have already been done, or you'll be doing it over like the I can't remember what it's called now. Is it called a gangway? The tunnel that connects the terminal with the plane door. You'll be stuck inside that, so you won't see them. But it actually happened recently. Probably the last flight I took, or one of the last most recent flights I took. The captain actually came up, or the captain or the co-pilot, whichever one it was, actually had finished the inspection and it came up using the stairs onto like the gangway, and had to sort of squeeze past me and my wife and that to get onto the plane, as we were queuing up to get on it. I was like, You know, most people would probably be shocked to see the pilot just rocking up like that. But I was like, all right, you've just done your inspection. Okay, that's cool. I actually did see them another time once on the ground actually doing the inspection. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So it's like, that's completely normal. So yeah, it does actually validate a lot of things. Because if you do have a little bit of fear of flying, then you know why certain things happen, why you hear certain, you know, aircraft noises and all this sort of thing. I'm gonna just turn off like this. I don't know if that's the correct way, but I'm gonna do it like this. Because I need some petrol, gasoline. Oh, and I'll clip my truck while doing so, and I'm gonna have to reverse out because there's no way my trailer's gonna get through that. Gasoline. Why is it called gasoline? It's not gas, it's a liquid. Oh dear. So yeah. Going back onto the topic of board games, very quickly, another new game that has been announced, which is very exciting, is, yeah, I'm going to definitely reverse. I'm not going to drive through this. That's just a disaster waiting to happen, and it's past midnight, and I am not going to faff around with that. There we go. How not to do it, but never mind. Yeah, Nomad Games, the company who are responsible for the digital edition of Fury of Dracula, they have announced, very excitingly, the title of their next game release. Obviously, they're still doing quite a lot of stuff with the Catan, the console edition of Catan, which is very exciting. Obviously, I don't have it, but you know, for all you Catan players out there, that'll be very exciting. I'm sure they're doing a very good job of it and all. But they've also announced that their next release is going to be. Oh, sorry, green truck. Oh, and there's something. I did not see that car. Okay, that is not how you should have done that, but never mind. I will get through these 1,000 miles without having a crash, people, or having any sort of penalties. Yeah, the next game they're going to release is called Board Game Café, and is literally as it sounds. It's going to be a board game cafe simulator. There we go. Get my words out right. I don't know how in depth it's going to be, but again, it sounds very chill, so I am all on board for it. It's not even in early access yet. They're still very much going through sort of like, you know, development and stuff, but it's clearly at quite an advanced stage if they're able to announce it already. That's really cool. So I assume it'll be out at some point this year. We'll have to see. I have signed myself up for sort of, you know, if they want anybody to sort of do it, sort of like play testing and stuff, I'll be more than willing to do it, because again, it doesn't look like a game that's going to be very intensive in terms of like time. You know, I could just easily sit here and do like, you know, 45 minutes after work or something in the evening when I'm chilling. So yeah, I've signed up, you know, just do a little bit of play testing, so it'd be kind of cool to see what sort of state it's in. If there's anything I can preview for the channel, then I will. It'd be really cool to see sort of what they come up with and how much detail it's going to be in, and how the economy is going to work and all this sort of thing. I know, you know, some board game cafes might find it a little bit difficult to be profitable, especially unfortunately with the pandemic. Quite a lot of them closed down. Understandably so. Is that a combine harvester? Are you kidding me? Oh, it's not a combine harvester. It's just a tractor. Okay, cool. I thought it was a combine. Oh, we're going to be going at like 20 miles an hour for the rest of this trip. Nice. Oh yeah. There's not going to be a wild ride. I really hope it's not going to be 280 miles of this. That's going to be really awkward. Sure, become a dual carriageway soon. Yeah, so it's going to be really cool. I mean, there's very little bit that's been announced. I mean, from the gameplay trailer, the one cool aspect that's going to be I'm really looking forward to is obviously with a board game cafe, you need board games, and the way it's going to work is they are going to. I don't know how they've been able to do this. There's going to be a lot of licensing involved and stuff. You'll be able to have in your board game cafe like official board games. So you know, I can have my, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to have my little board game cafe, and then the clients could go up to the shelf and pick out Fury of Dracula, and I can watch them playing Fury of Dracula at the table. I mean, the joke's on me because like no one would pick Fury of Dracula, but you know, we can dream. I'll just, I'll just have a board game cafe when everything is there's no game apart from Fury of Dracula. That's it. That's your only choice. Obviously, you're gonna have to have first edition and second edition and third edition and fourth edition, obviously. No, that's really cool. I think it's gonna be really cool. Like in the teaser video that they dropped, they had people at the table playing Tiny Towns, which is also another game that I want to try. Unfortunately, it's not on Board Game Arena, but I do want to try and play Tiny Towns at some point. Really, Tractor? Really? You decided to go in this lane? I really hope you're turning off, because if you're not, you're a prick. Is it a John Deere? Of course it is. Oh, it is a combine. But it doesn't have the actual like combining bit at the front. Okay. And it goes into the overtaking lane because of course it does. Unless it's turning off. Oh, it was gonna turn off. Okay. I take that back. Okay, I take that back. Sorry, AI. Rural Texas, lots of agricultural industry all around here. That's cool. So yeah, I don't know when it's going to be released. Maybe the next time I do a video I might know more information, but it's going to be very cool. Obviously I will not release any information which is not public about the game, or unless I get, if I get any sort of permission from Nomad, then I will, but otherwise I will keep everything under wraps, as you'd expect. But that's a very cool idea. I actually don't know, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I don't know, that might well be Nomad's first, like, original release, in the sense it's like the first game that they have created themselves. Again, I'm really sorry, people from Nomad, if anyone's listening, feel free to correct me in the comments below, but all the games that I'm aware that they've done have been adaptations of board games, where they've obtained the license, and they have then produced the digital edition of the game. To my knowledge, they've done Talisman, and they've done that for quite a while. They've now got Catan, they've got Mystic Vale, Fury of Dracula, another one called Cat Lady, I think, remember rightly. So, it might be their first, or at least in a while, anyway. Wait, is that the European? No. What's that blue flag? There's like a weird like blue flag over there. I thought it was the European Union flag, and I thought I was like tripping out. Like, what on earth is this? Oh, I'm gonna have to take a picture here with the Texas flag, aren't I? Okay, sorry to everybody that's on the road. I'm gonna go into the photo studio. I'm gonna take a picture of this. He has a photo mode in this game. I don't know much about Texas. But the only two things I do know much about them is the flag is iconic, and Stevie Ray Vaughan's from there, and he's an epic. He was sadly an epic guitarist. So take that picture. Yeah, that'll do. Perfect. Cool. I didn't even need to stop my truck. I could have just gone into photo studio while I was still rolling. Never mind. That's fine. The Lone Star State. How long have we got to go? Oh, 250 miles. Okay, we've got still a little bit of time then. Yeah, so I'll finish this trip and then I'll call it a day. And assuming the quality is good enough, I'll upload it. Which I hope it will be. So yeah, I'll be really excited to know when that board game. I mean, typical, it'll probably come out over the summer when I'm on hiatus and I won't be able to do anything about it. But oh well, it is what it is. I mean, that's all really. I mean, I've been trying to get back into music a little bit recently. I was meaning to play this game a lot more so I could listen to music, but then I haven't been able to do it. What have I been listening to? I've been listening to a little bit, obviously, Alter Bridge, as always. But I'm trying to wean myself off Alter Bridge a bit. Just trying to listen to different stuff, just sort of cleanse my palate. I've actually been listening to quite a lot of Shinedown recently. Kind of hit sort of a nostalgic trip for them. I was listening to, what was I listening to? Attention Attention, which is their album from I would say 2018. That would probably fit the timeline right. I'm thinking about certain things in my life that were happening at that time. Yeah, about 2018. The album's very cool. It's a concept album, very sort of mental health focused. You're basically the idea of the album is that you are trapped in a room with nothing but a chair, and you sit there and basically you listen to the album, and you go through all the emotions and trying to deal with whatever demons are kind of inside you. And yeah, so the lyrics are tough, you know, to listen to in that sense. And you go through all the emotions, and then you come out the other side, basically. And they did a special film for it where they did a music video for each song, and in all the music videos, the chair is there in some way, shape, or form to represent the room that you're in. They're all very different from each other. There's a little camera around here. I will stop and I'll show you what it is if you don't know. So we're going through this town. Well, the English way would be, oh, there's a limo as well. It'd be pronounced Amarillo. But I realize I've probably offended every single Spanish speaker, and it also hurts my soul to say it that way now that I know Spanish. So I guess it'd be Amarillo, which again feels a bit weird to say, but it would be Amarillo. Where's the camera? It's here. Perfect. I will show you what this camera is. Basically, all around the map you've got these little cameras. Now, I think I've shown these before on video, but the problem is it's very possible that those photos got, those videos got wiped. So if I press A, we've got a little cutscene here showing you the location. That is a very interesting building. There's like a hotel. So it's all about the city of Amarillo. And it's actually live, so you actually see the traffic still moving and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. Okay, we've got some sort of like wavy roof building there. Probably not the most interesting one, but fair enough. Maybe Amarillo is very important. I don't know. Sorry, Americans. There's seagulls on that roof as well. If anybody knows why Amarillo is really important, then feel free to let me know in the comments below. I am very ignorant. I've heard of Dallas, I've heard of Texas. The only thing I know about Amarillo is the song. So, yeah. Normally the ones I've seen of these so far have been of like mountain landscapes and canyons and all that sort of thing, and now it's just a city. So probably not the best example to show you, but that's okay, that doesn't matter. So yeah, just a normal sort of city landscape here. Got some sort of like medium-rise buildings here, some skyscrapers were off in the distance in the previous thing. Oh, that's a cool little mural there of a cat chasing a bunny chasing something else. Is that mural real? I hope so. I hope they didn't make that up just for the game. I assume that mural exists. Right, so I'm going to have to try to now merge, which is not going to be an easy job. Oh, is that a one-way street? Oh, you... I'm going to try and turn around here. That's not ideal. Oh, there's that mural again. Nice. Can I turn back into this street here? That'd be really handy if that's the case. Oh, I can do it here. Nice. Okay. Right, back on the road again. If I see any more, I'll stop and show you. They're kind of a new thing that got added. When I first started playing the game, they didn't exist, but I think it's with Iberia was the first time they'd done it. I think because they put them into American Truck Simulator first, and then they just started expanding them out, and they started putting them in retrospectively. It was really cool. So yeah, listening to attention. And then actually today, as having my lunch, I was listening to Brent Smith, who's the singer of Shinedown. He had done a track by track about their first album, Leave a Whisper, because it was last year. It was the 20th anniversary of that record. So he did a little with one of the radio stations in America. He did like an hour-long track by track of the album. It was really cool. There are a lot of stories. Wait, apologies. There are quite a lot of stories from that album I didn't know. I've watched a lot of interviews with him, talking about music and the way they've created it and like the inspiration of the songs. A lot of things I didn't know from that album. It was really cool that the first album was getting a bit of love. So yeah, I was then now just listening back to a little bit of it, and I've listened to that album so much. But again, I haven't listened to it really recently. Shinedown's now one of those bands I've listened to them so much. When I first got into them, it's not that I'm tired of listening to them now, but I don't listen to them that often. But then when I do, I'll just be hit with like a wave of nostalgia. Like, right, let's listen to all Shinedown stuff. So I probably will over the next few days just sit there and go through all their album again, all their albums. We don't want to go to Albuquerque. I want to be in the left-hand lane for this, right? Stay left, right? Yeah, I'm not going to Albuquerque. Not today. Oklahoma City, that's where we're going. Off to Oklahoma. Don't need the full beams on. So I listen to them, which is great. What else have I been listening to? There's a couple of new bands I've been trying to, or musicians I've been trying to discover. One in particular, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. I think it's called Inshon. I will leave a Spotify link for you. From what I can gather from research, Norwegian multi-instrumentalist, was in a band called Emperor. I think still is in a band called Emperor. Never listened to Emperor. Never heard this guy before. I just randomly clicked on a YouTube video of actually, funny enough, a Scottish metal reviewer, and she was like, "Oh yeah, this is like my top pick of the week, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Never heard of it. Let's just play it." It's really, really cool. Heavy sort of like black metal, death metal, but the album has been done with like a lot of orchestral stuff. I was gonna say orchestral stuff in the background. It's not in the background. There is like there's real weaving of classical orchestra alongside heavy, guttural vocals and really, really heavy guitar, and it's awesome. There's also a second album to go alongside that, which is just the orchestra and nothing else. So if you need like a palate cleanser, then you can listen to the orchestral version. I love it. I've been listening to it quite a lot. I think it's fantastic. I haven't listened to it in a way that I can properly dissect it, if that makes sense. I can't review it, but I really enjoy it. And there's a particular song on the album which is quite short. It's called Twice Born. That song just, haven't heard an orchestra like be so aggressive before, and just the way it goes in at the beginning is just amazing. So if you want to hear a blend of like really heavy metal, but with like, you know, really classy but yet also heavy orchestra on top of it, that might be your thing. What else have I listened to? There's a Canadian band, power metal, called Unleash the Archers. They have released a new song recently. And again, I've only listened to it a couple of times. I need to actually go back and listen to it properly again because I can't remember it very well. They were a band that I discovered during the pandemic because they'd released an album. I can't remember if they released it before the pandemic or during. Can't remember now. Everything at that time is just kind of blurring into one. But they, again, their sounds evolved quite a lot. I need to really go back and listen to a lot of their older stuff. But the two most recent albums they've done have been A Story, and again, now I can't remember the story that well, even though I did research a lot about it at the time. It's about a character called the Immortal, who's kind of like the hero of the story, and it's about his, I think, enslavement and then victory against the matriarch, who's like then this sort of this antagonist character. And there's a real sort of story to it with like fantasy, and it's based in space and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of things going on between different galaxies and things. So clearly there's a lot of inspiration there in terms of lyrical content and the story that they wanted to tell, and then, you know, really amazing music to accompany it. There we go. Really cool stuff. Just type in, I think the song from I gotta get it right. Abyss is the most recent one, so Apex is the previous album to that. There's a song on YouTube which you can find which is called Awakening, and they do a studio playthrough of it, and it's just amazing. It's like 8 or 9 minute epic power metal, and it's just the singer's voice is just so strong. Just really cool guitars, but again they kind of go off into like sort of like Iron Maiden-y sort of like galloping sort of metal riffs. It's really cool. So yeah, that album Abyss, the most recent one, is, I think, of that time when I was like starting to review sort of albums a little bit, it was like the top one of the year for me. It was just really cool. Oh, what? Okay, that's really weird. And they get to stop for me. This is weird. Okay. I mean, thanks, I guess. That was so weird. I thought I was on the wrong side of the road or something. That was very strange. Is that normal, folks? American people? Is that normal, the way that road went? Sorry, I realize if you're not listening, if you're only listening and not watching it, then that'd be very weird. Oh dear. I appear to be lagging a little bit, but it's not OBS related, so I think it's a game lag. So what I think is happening here, my traffic mod is potentially interfering with this new part of the map. So apologies, people. You might have to put up with this. Hopefully, once we get out of this little section, it'll dissipate.
Stay right, and then turn right. Turn right.
So if the video is lagging, don't worry. It is for me too. I'm sorry. It's not my recording. It's the game. Yeah, these mods aren't perfect, so it does cause some issues. Seems like the newer parts of the map aren't as stable because obviously they haven't fixed all the bugs and things, and that's what I get for wanting more traffic. So you know, that's okay. But it's really cool that the game, you know, allows people to mod it and to
go straight.
Oh, now it's smoother again. That's fine. Maybe there's just a patch with a lot of spawning going on. It was kind of stressing out the game a bit. That's a very water tower. Again, that's another weird thing. Like, there's so many, like, in America, like, water towers are really common, but at least from what I'm aware, in my country, water towers are not really a thing at all. Maybe they used to be, but I've never seen them. I've always associated them with America, but that might be me being ignorant. Pylons in the distance as well. So yeah, they released a new song, and again, there's a whole story behind it. And again, I will do my research properly, and I'll go back to it. But if you want to listen to something not as heavy, in terms of like not, you know, guttural vocals all the time, but want to be kind of embraced in a story, then Unleash the Archers, you can't go wrong. Check out the 2 most recent albums. I think that then the ones a little bit further back are good too, but I haven't got around to them yet. It's funny talking about the Oscars a few minutes ago. I just saw randomly popped up on my social media the performance that Ryan Gosling did of the song from Barbie, and I was sitting on the sofa just now, earlier on with my wife having dinner, and I was just like, oh, just talking about the Oscars, about Cillian Murphy and all this sort of stuff, and she was like, oh, did you see who performed at the Oscars? I was like, yeah, it was Ryan Gosling doing, his rendition of the song from the film. And she was like, no, like, who performed with him? And I was like, no. And yeah, he, for the song, he had collaborated with Mark Ronson and Slash. Slash joined him for the live performance. So there was Slash with his top hat, just rocking out beside Ryan Gosling. So yeah. Oh, really, paramedics? God damn it. Oh, now you're slowing up for me? Oh. Sorry, I mean, you do a good job. So yeah, it's just funny. That just suddenly appeared. Speaking of Slash, I've been seeing on the Ultra Bridge social medias and things that Slash and Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators have been touring Australia, and I think they're in Japan now, or they have been very recently. So that's really cool that they're all going around the world with that. Oh, looking at that sky, it looks like it's absolutely going to chuck it down in a second. Come on. Yeah, that's kind of more or less me up to date, to be honest. I do want to go into a little bit more detail. I do want to have a discussion about my Desert Island discs, my songs and albums I would take to a desert island, but I haven't prepared myself for that today, so I won't do that now. I do want to talk about Miles Kennedy's albums, but again, I'm not prepared to do it right now, and also we've only got 80 miles left, so there's not much point doing it right now. So yeah, we'll finish this job, and then I'll just call this video here. I think assuming there's not much static, I think it'll be fine. And yeah, I can maybe in another 10 days or so, I can record another one.
Go straight.
So apologies again for the delay, but you know, hopefully you understand. It's been quite a nice drive actually. Nothing really sort of eventful in terms of scenery. No impressive canyons or anything like that. But just kind of be going through sort of like I assume this is like the farming sort of heartland of America. So just kind of. Not a lot of terrain differences either, nothing really extreme, but it's been interesting. So we'll see. It depends if I do some convoys with other people. Then obviously I might not be starting the next video that we do on my channel in Texas. Might be somewhere else. Who knows? It just depends. I'll try and do one along the Pacific coast if possible. I did try to show the Golden Gate Bridge in the previous recording. That got ditched, but unfortunately it's at night, so you couldn't see it. I'll try and do that. If I try and capture the Golden Gate Bridge on camera, that'd be great.
Go straight.
Yeah, that's me. I have no idea where we are. We're somewhere in Oklahoma, but I am none the wiser where we are. Everybody with their pickups and things. Well, it looks like OBS is behaving itself. Yeah, it's only missed 8 frames out of 180,000, so definitely not getting encoding lag anymore, which is good. So thank you again to Iron Batteries for helping me out, trying to fix it.
Go straight.
It means I've had to turn down the graphics quality and things a little bit, but I don't think it affects things too much. Again, I'm not on the most powerful computer, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna push it you know, and try and turn up the graphics to a ridiculous degree, and then it fails on me. So yeah, the graphics that you see are not the best. I think they are acceptable. It's at that point where it's recording well. I'm not getting much lag, so we'll take those victories. When I play on my own, I can just bump it up if I want to. So these videos are not necessarily about the gameplay. I'm not trying to be a American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator YouTuber. I am just a YouTuber who likes to play American Truck Simulator. I think that'd be a better way to put it. I said that, you know, these videos are just here to keep you company. So you see, I'm not promoting them as American Truck Simulator videos. When I tell YouTube what game I'm playing, I say it, but obviously in the title there's nothing to say I'm playing American Truck Simulator. You never know, I might end up recording something else at some point, we'll have to see. Is this the town where we have to drop off the load? No, 50 miles, no, not quite.
Go straight.
Oh, okay, red light again. I assume this is what are referred to as stroads. Another, and again, I might have mentioned in a previous video, apologies if I had. Another topic I like, or another interest of mine is watching videos about urban planning. Again, I'm not an urban planner, but I'm interested in it. And yeah, they talk about the American stroads, you know, these sort of like wide roads with shops along the side, but very little pavement access and very difficult to cross them. Very sort of car dependent regions. Everything extremely low density. I mean, in the UK we have, you know, situations like this too, but they're very much on the outskirts of the town. But the town will still have a lot of accessible shops, like accessible shops in the middle of the town, where you don't need your car. We more have these sort of things for like retail parks and things. We won't have like a really long street with lots of like takeaway, you know, drive-through restaurants and, you know, supermarkets and stuff on the. You know, that's not really how we do it. I mean, say that like I mean, most towns would be like this in Spain. You know, the town I'm living in right now. I'm not even joking. Like, I can leave my flat and within 90 seconds I'm inside a supermarket, and that's walking, by the way. I'm not driving.
Go straight.
I've literally got my job is like 5 minutes away, supermarket 90 seconds. I've got a pharmacy nearby. I've got like an domestic shop nearby. I've got libraries nearby, bookshops nearby, clothes shops, everything. I can't imagine living in a society where you have to drive literally everywhere to do anything. Or at least, okay, I will rephrase that. Living in an urban, quote-unquote, environment and having to drive everywhere. When I was a kid, we did have to drive everywhere if we wanted to go to any sort of shop. That's because we lived in the countryside, and then that's a valid reason. Yeah, it's just so different. The societies are so different. Europe is still quite a lot, you know, sort of car orientated as well, but there is still quite a lot of focus on public transport and like living really close to where you work. Anything longer than an hour for a commute one way, people will think you're kind of mad. I personally could never do that. I don't think I'd ever love a job that much that I would be willing to commute at least more than an hour each way. And then you never know. You never know. I might be proven wrong. Yeah, lots of little farms all around here. There's quite a lot of detail. Just really feels like with these games you're kind of like in a living world, and rather than just being on a road and just driving along, it feels like there's like connections to everything. Like, you know, earlier on we saw that, you know, combine harvester driving along the road, but then they're clearly turning off to go into one of the agricultural sites that we passed. Another, I assume that's another water tower in the distance as well. Red and white checkered things there.
Stay right, and then turn right.
Alright, and we're here. We're nowhere near a town, so I don't know, maybe we're on the outskirts of a town, maybe we're entering one. I think that's what's happening here. Well, there's clearly some sort of depot here where they're going to be sorting out all of these home accessories, so hopefully they are waiting for us. I've always got the easy parking turned on. The reason why is I don't mind doing the hard parking. The problem is when I used to do really long trips on these games, like when I'm saying long trips, like literally I would try to drive for like 2-3 hours on the trot. The last thing I want to do is when I finish a job and I'm really tired, is then to have the automatic parking to be the hard parking, and then I'd fail at it, and it feel like it'd ruin the whole journey for me. So I just prefer. I'm not getting as much experience from it. I prefer just having the easy parking, just quickly drive in, unload, and you're done. Even though obviously my parking skill is not as high as it could have been. But with Euro Truck Simulator, I did a lot of hard parking. Okay. So that's us done. I'll look at the map where we are. We are Lawton. Okay, so the town's down here by the looks of things. And yeah, we are indeed in Oklahoma, just southwest of Oklahoma City. So there you go. So yeah, next episode, I don't know where we're going to be going. We might head into Texas a little bit. We might be in a completely different place. If I want to get out of here, we're going to have to go along routes we've already gone along. I might try and take some detours and try and take some of these side roads I haven't seen before. But yeah, that's it for now, folks. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I hope it brought you company. And I hope you're all well. And feel free to leave any comments below if you so wish. If you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. But feel free to leave any comments or likes and things as you see fit. And if there's any questions and things, I will answer them in the next episode. And I will see you in the next episode as soon as it shall be. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.